Good evening. This is John Bailey. This is People to be Heard, the program where people who have something to say have their say. Tonight, you've got Nada Cotter of WESPAC, Executive Director there in White Plains, the organization that has been keeping watch on the Rhine for 42 years. And you have been Executive Director for 15 years, and she's joined on her immediate right by Surya Peterson, who is organizing a very unique and different Earth Day celebration coming up April 23rd in White Plains, the Earth Day Health Forum. And also by Roger Drew, a board member who's joining us tonight. And at this point, I'd like to ask you, Nada, how did this event come to be your focus this year? It's different, right?
Well, I should probably let Mr. Peterson talk about that, but we found out that the city of White Plains was not organizing their usual Earth Day celebration, so then Mr. Peterson had the idea to organize our own grassroots commemoration. If you'd like to say
right,
something.
And it's taking place April 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
At the Slater Center in White Plains.
Yes. And could you explain the speakers? They're covering a lot of issues aimed at a lot of issues affecting minorities and majorities alike. Right?
Yes, we're having Pastor John, who's a pastor at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Greenberg, that has gardens, and he's going to be speaking. And Doug DeCotta, who is a gardener who's collaborating with him. Doug is a part of the Food Justice Committee here at WESPAC. And Doug has been doing gardens around at the New York School for the Deaf and many other places. And his food goes to help the food bank in White Plains. So we're trying to get people to get back to basics, if you will, with the little problems of people being hungry and foods, NGOs, you don't know what you're eating. Well, we're saying to people, you can have your own garden. We just recently met at the Bethel Baptist garden up on Soundview, and other churches have gardens, schools have gardens. So we're trying to encourage people to have gardens, and those are two speakers. And then the young lady, Yokevit, who's a registered nurse, will speak about asthma.
A major problem this spring.
Yes, she's been working with asthma patients and helping people with that for some time, and she'll be coming to speak about that. And then two other young men will speak about other alternatives for people who want to help their health.
Right, and this will be held at the Slater Center, and you're also going to have a vegan lunch, right?
That's correct. There's a restaurant, vegan restaurant, Jolo's in New Rochelle. They will deliver the food, and we will serve that to everybody.
Mm-hmm. And the event is free and open to the public, and everyone's welcome and encouraged. They'll learn some new information, they'll meet some new friends. It'll be a good community gathering.
Now, just this week, we have heard that the amount of time that people can get food stamps is going to be cut to 3 months because employment is up in Westchester. Do you think that this is going to be a true problem right here in the county?
Well, according to the statistics that we hear from Doug DeCandia, our local farmer who's growing food for the food bank, every year 200,000 people in Westchester County are at risk of being hungry at some point during the year. And we are in a county of 930,000 people. So 200,000 people in Westchester County is very significant. So here at WESPAC, we believe that food is a very basic human right. Not any kind of food. We believe that fresh, local, high-quality food is a very basic human right. And so we're not at all happy with this news. We also know for a fact that the unemployment rate does not include the numbers of people who have stopped looking for work
Or can't.
and it also does not include the numbers of people who are underemployed. people who really want full-time work but can only find part-time work and don't have proper benefits. So for all these reasons, the news is not good, which makes the work of WESPAC's Food Justice Committee all the more urgent.
What does the Food Justice Committee do?
You want to say anything?
Sure. Food Justice Committee is one of a number of committees here at WESPAC. There's a meeting monthly, I believe. All of us have been to those meetings, are active members of that group. We work on issues like Sir, you mentioned GMO, genetically modified organisms,
Here, if you want to look at the
and fighting GMOs. And GMOs are, you know, when you take an apple and they alter this apple and they use, for example, a gene from, it could be from a nut gene to make it more resistant to cold weather. Just one example. May or may not be true, but it's an example of what happens. The danger is that if someone had a nut allergy, they would never think an apple has a nut gene in it, you know?
Yes.
That's right.
And there's all sorts of issues around GMOs, and so one thing that's happening right now in all over the world, but also here in New York State, is there's a push for a bill that would label GMOs, and so you see, well, this is a GMO apple, this is not a GMO
And
apple.
GMO stands for?
Genetically modified organism. Genetically modified organism. So our
like
food
a steroid for food.
Steroid for food, exactly. So the Food Justice Committee works on everything like that, from actually that level of passing legislation to the grassroots level, like Surya has organized this Health Day Forum. So really educating people about healthy eating, showing folks how to garden, working with Farmer Doug, who we mentioned, working with other farmers in the area, teaching people how to garden, and sort of trying to do that on every level, from changing legislation to teaching people how to change their individual lives.
Yes.
And one point I want to add, which is crucial to our work, is that who are the people who are picking the food that we eat every day? What are the working conditions of the people who are in the fields picking the food that is available at the supermarket? That's a very important aspect of food justice work, because farm workers are being extremely exploited. They're being, in some cases, outright abused. Their working conditions are unacceptable.
That happens in the county?
Well, we have very few farms in Westchester County, but we're talking about the food that we eat every day.
And
the working
that's picked in the Middle West, places like that.
It could also be upstate New York.
Yeah, upstate New York, yes.
Florida, we've been to Florida, working with the farmers there, trying to help them in their pursuit for
And
more help.
ancillary question to that, do you feel that the farm workers who pick in New York State are in trouble as far as exploitation goes, from what you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they all need assistance, all the farmers.
Higher wages.
We need
perhaps, yes.
higher wages, we need more people to know more about why farms are so important. And then the hunger situation is, people are told they're hungry. In many instances, people aren't really hungry. It's a commercial thing to make money on people.
Well, just have to look at the television to see all the ads for food. Not all which are good for you. Question here. Now, how do I start to garden? Where do I find plots to garden? And what do I need to do to get started? And how much of a garden do I need? A lot of questions, but I imagine that Mr. DeCandia is going to say, treat you to that information at Earth Day.
He will definitely talk about that. In the city of White Plains, the city's Parks and Rec Department, they run 2 community garden plots, one at Baldwin Farms, which is right on Hall Avenue off of Lake Street in White Plains. And there's also the New York Presbyterian Hospital that has allowed the city of White Plains to use a small portion of their property also for community garden plots. There is a demand, and there may be a wait list. People will need to go to the Office of Parks and Rec on Gedney Way in White Plains to fill out an application. It's $45 a year to have a plot in one of these 2 locations. And part of the WESPAC Food Justice Committee's mission is to identify lands that could be used because there is a growing interest in local fresh food and gardens and having access to good food.
Now, is the plots are parceled out every year, or are they reserved in perpetuity?
That's a good question. We would have to ask Parks and Rec.
Okay, yeah, because it's interesting. And how much of a plot do you get to work with? What does a family need if they should be lucky enough to get a plot that they could garden? What size do they need?
Well, I would say, I wouldn't start with what size would they need. I feel that people need to start having a garden.
Yeah.
Some people are having gardens in a pot in the house, tomatoes,
Right.
growing tomatoes or
That was my
beans
next
or
thought.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, you just need to start that. And there are people in the country that are pushing on golf courses to turn them back into gardens. Because golf course, how's that help people?
That's
But
what
you
we could
need-
do with Ridgeway Country Club. Yes,
Very
there's a
true.
new use.
Or actually maybe the Trump Country Club.
True.
But the Board of Education in Greenberg owns the land next to the Seventh-day Adventist Church at Juniper Hill. And they have permitted the minister of the church to have gardens on that property.
So there are other areas around the county
Oh, yes.
that people could go to if they have a
Yes.
car to garden.
Actually, on Sunday, April 17th, WESPAC, in collaboration with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is helping with the inauguration of their community garden with farmer Doug DeCandia. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on
Right.
Sunday the 17th.
Now, you have a young woman who's going to talk about asthma. And
Yes.
that is a very key issue, particularly this spring. It was bad last year, but it's even worse now. So what will she be talking about on the asthma issue?
Well, she has done a film. She'll do a little trailer of her film. She has a book, and she's been a registered nurse for about 20, 30 years. She will be helping people to understand what's needed, how asthma comes about, how to correct it, everything about asthma.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see, which people really do not know if they don't go, they're not bad enough asthma sufferers to attend, to visit an allergist.
And now they have certification classes for people that she teaches also. And I'm looking to bring her back to do certification classes in schools, churches, wherever.
Mm-hmm. And each of the speakers will be speaking for what, about 35 minutes?
That's correct.
40 minutes?
Yes.
And the other speaker that is also quite interesting is Pastor John, who is going to be talking about dealing with lifestyle challenges. And could you explain a little bit more what he...
Pastor John,
Yes.
no, you're speaking about Brother John Phillip.
Yeah. Brother John Phillip. I
He
am
will
sorry.
be bringing information that he's been researching for years on how to, if you will, make your life better.
Mm-hmm.
Health-wise, a lot of information about what's in the milk today, if you will, what's in vaccines,
Nutrition.
educating
Yeah.
people.
Nutrition analysis.
That's
that
correct.
Not
Right.
the average person would know.
That's correct.
You know, so part of the issue is that the soil where we used to, our farmers used to grow food in soil that was very rich and nutrient dense. And because of the chemical fertilizers and the transformation of our food system, the topsoil has been destroyed. And so the soil has far less nutrition. A tomato that we eat today from the supermarket does not have the same nutrition that a tomato had 100 years ago. From
Really?
the,
I didn't know that.
Absolutely not. The soil has been so depleted by conventional agricultural business.
Well, has this happened to a lot of foods?
The overwhelming majority of the topsoil on the planet has really been ravaged by this. So Farmer DeCandia will also be talking about the importance of soil health and really focusing on what can we all do to rebuild the health of the topsoil.
Now this once again we want to talk about the Earth Day Health Forum is taking place on Saturday, April 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Thomas Slater Center, open to all who are interested in learning how to do a garden even in an apartment. Like on a fire escape, on a windowsill, if it's appropriately secured. And is there any idea of how big of apartment garden is needed to be sufficient? I mean, I've grown herbs, but I haven't grown anything more substantial than herbs.
Well, people know they have flower gardens. Wherever you have a flower garden, you can have a vegetable garden. You can put flowers and put vegetables in there also. And we're also mainly trying to help people to understand and to realize that food comes from a garden. It doesn't come out of a refrigerator or it comes from a warehouse. I mean, it really does, but it can come from your garden, from your property.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was growing up in school, nobody ever talked really much about agriculture at all. They probably do less of that today.
And that's part of the problem with our food system, is that the status of agriculture is not the same as the status of manufacturing. And part of our food justice movement is to say, we need to elevate the status of agriculture in our country. And we need to elevate the status of agricultural workers in our country, because they're doing very dignified work. And somehow there's been a stigma put on agricultural workers that it's okay to keep them underpaid. And so part of our mission and our movement is to transform our food system.
Right. And now going to a more broader scope, what are the issues other than this food justice that WESPAC is looking at as an organization today?
I can speak to that a little bit.
Drew?
Yeah, I think, you know, the big part with food justice is justice. I mean, that's what we focus on. Social injustice, economic justice, racial justice, gender justice, and working towards a world with all of those things. So, you know, that's how we approach the food work. I mean, it's not just by chance that the food system is this way. It's certain communities are kept from having access to healthy food, and it's a money question. The way food has changed, well, not is speaking about, you know, how much less nutrients you get from an apple. That's because the agricultural system has focused on creating profit, not creating unhealthy food, which leads to cancer, which leads to all these increased rates of diseases that we're all faced with. So that's the approach we take with all of our work. So other work we address includes
The Middle East Committee?
The Middle East Committee, so looking at issues of justice with Israel-Palestine, with conflicts in the Middle East. There was a program last week that we helped with that was about promoting Westchester to take in refugees, Syrian refugees and other refugees to the county that have been displaced by conflicts, and it was a huge success. 250 people came.
Have Syrian refugees been resettled in Westchester?
No.
Okay.
Stamford, yes.
Stamford, Connecticut. Wow, yeah. Connecticut, always in the forefront.
You know, so there's a feeling that because our foreign policies have actually, very unfortunately, been part of the reason why there is so much instability in the Middle East region, including the 2003 illegal invasion of Iraq, the region has not recovered. And we're seeing these extremist forces that have taken over large parts of Iraq and Syria and have made living conditions unbearable, and extremely repressive governments, also brutalizing their own populations. So we feel that we have a responsibility to take much larger numbers of refugees into our country.
And then we have a housing committee here,
Affordable housing.
affordable housing, that works and tries to help people that are having problems with housing, if you will.
We also have a very good communications listserv and many different groups many community groups in Westchester County come to WESPAC to ask for our assistance in getting the word out about their
And you have a
event or
website.
campaign. We have a website, wespac.org, WESPAC.org. We're on Facebook, Explore WESPAC. We also have a Twitter account at WESPAC_NY. So there are many different ways to reach
Our
us.
number is 914-449-6514. People can come to the office and visit us here at 31 Mamaroneck Avenue on the corner of Martine and Mamaroneck,
The
4th
Arts
floor
Building.
in the Westchester Arts Building. Yep, come up to the 4th floor. Our door is open.
Yes.
And the number again.
914-449-6514.
Okay. Now, let's get back to our focus here, the Earth Day Health Forum, which is on Saturday, April 23rd. We're talking with Surya Peterson, Nada Cotter, and Roger Drew of WESPAC, the Westchester People's Action Coalition. Hard for me to say because I'm old. But anyway, I would like to focus now on how much do you feel people have to invest in doing a garden? How much time? These are the kind of issues they're going to learn there. How much money?
These
what
are
they
all
need.
very personal questions
Yeah.
that a person needs to figure out. It's completely according to one's capacity and interest. So Farm or Dog will make it doable for a whole range of interests and means.
Living situations.
If you're in an apartment building and I think it's lovely that you, Mr. Bailey, have herbs in your kitchen so that you can cut your little bit of herb and make a fresh
They are
dish.
the best. Yeah.
And that's actually a really good place to have herbs growing, and also the aroma from the herbs. And then going deeper into the science of that is the effect that the herb actually has on your body and your mind. So there's a whole science there. But people in apartments doing the potted planting, people who have extra time, maybe a recently retired person, can be more adventuresome, can get out there and maybe do some gardening classes with others that are available in the area. It's really according to one's capacity and interest.
Now let's see. Running down the panel list again, there's Doug DeCandia, who is a local farmer, who's going to be speaking. There's going to be Yesheved Badamed. Well, I apologize, I screwed that name up. She is going to talk about asthma, and that's a really important issue because even if you're not seeing an allergist, but you have consistent cold symptoms and just don't feel like mentally with it, you're suffering from asthma. And you need to attend that. And then there's Pastor Kieran Leo John, and the National Lifestyle Health Educator, and Brother John Phillip, Medical Research Broadcast Journalist. Now, one person we did not talk about was the Leonard Berg, the Holistic Health Educator.
Yeah.
And it's body and mind here, right?
Yes, Leonard Berg is a graduate of White Plains High School, and he does what he calls soul therapy. He helps people to understand how their thinking and their mannerisms, etc., works toward keeping their health and correctness.
Yes, always be upbeat and positive, because the negative just accentuates the negative. Now, is there anything more you would like to say about the health?
Speaking about the
Okay,
positives,
yes.
every Wednesday at 11:30 we have meditation here in the office, and then for anyone who's available, we walk over together to Grace Church to listen to the beautiful classical music for 30 minutes. So it's a midweek coming together to both nourish the soul and mind with the beautiful music. We meditate together and then we go listen to music. So it's free and open to the public. Anyone's welcome to come, and it really helps create that positive energy.
Right. Well, Nada Cotter of WESPAC, Surya Peterson of WESPAC, and Roger Drew, you have been heard all about Earth Day Health Forum in White Plains at the Thomas Slater Center, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., April 23rd. Don't miss it. Children, and adults of all ages, and you also get a free vegan lunch, and you'll see how good vegetables are. My wife has turned vegan over the last 5 to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And
well, I hope you're both coming, Mr. Bailey.
I will certainly make an attempt.
Okay.
And
Delicious
Doors
food.
are open at 9 o'clock.
okay, very good. So anyway, John Bailey saying thank you to our guests and good night for people to be heard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nada, just give us a preview of what WESPAC is working on in the next few months.
Wonderful. I'd be very happy to do that. On Sunday, April 17th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., we are engaging in a Community Earth Day celebration at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Greenburgh, along with Doug DeCandia, Dig Farm, and local Starbucks employees. We'll be digging new community gardens. We'll be creating composting bins. We'll be doing neighborhood cleanup. That's Sunday, April 17th, free and open to the public. All details at westpac.org. Our annual awards dinner will be Thursday, April 28th at 6 p.m. at the Women's Club in White Plains. Every year, WESPAC organizes local people in our community who have done outstanding work for peace and social, racial, environmental justice. So for details on this, again, it's all on our website. We'd love to have people come and join us. If the ticket cost is an issue, there are some scholarship seats, and we welcome everyone. On May 8th, Mother's Day, WESPAC will be welcoming a group of Harlem mothers and grandmothers who are walking to Albany to highlight the plight of the wrongfully incarcerated. We will be having a community dinner at the Eileen Fisher headquarters in Irvington at 6 p.m. on Sunday, May 8th. On May 26th, right here in this office, we will be welcoming mental health professionals who will be coming to talk to WESPAC members and the community about the crisis of mental health and what we can be doing to be helpful in that campaign. On Thursday, May 12th, a member of the WESPAC Food Justice Committee will be leading a workshop on seed balls. And seed balls are basically where we make clay and compost balls full of flower and plant seeds, and we distribute them around the city in places that need loving care, an abandoned lot, for example. Again, the workshop is free and open to the public. That'll be Thursday, May 12th. On Wednesday, June 1st, we will be showing a film called The Wanted 18. It's an animated film about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territory. And there are many other events that you can find on our website, WESPAC, WESPAC.org. We really appreciate the opportunity, John, to be with you this evening, and we'll hope to see you again very soon. Thank you.